Did you see that? Welcome back. Thanks for coming. It's the Hotline show, the 81st one, and today is November 9th, 2025. How was your week? Did you have a good week? It was a week here, big week. Finally, some good news. We're not going to get into that. We're not doing today. We got to stay on track. You know when you text someone, you're like, I'm going to bring pasta dish over for dinner. And then they get back to you with just a reply to that with a thumbs up emoji. The fuck? To me, when I read thumbs up emoji, that means go fuck yourself, whatever. Anytime you do this to someone? Yeah, okay. Yeah, bring the pasta salad. We got anything you want, we got it. Sure thing, buddy. If I see you thumbing up, I'm just assuming you're telling me to go fuck myself. You heart it. Just a heart. You say something, I'm going to bring the pasta salad. Heart. My heart to you, back, heart. Not this. That's crazy. Stop doing this. I went into the city this week. It was great. Just quick trip, but it was because friend of the show, Rob Hubel, his improv troupe, maybe, I don't know what it is. It's a show, Dinosaur Improv. They were at the town hall. He put me on the list. I got in for free, but that didn't make the show any better. But it was amazing. It was so much fun. It was hilarious. It was great to go into a theater and watch a show and have tons of laughs. After the show, I saw Rob. First time we met, he's done a few things for this show. He was on my previous podcast. And I've just been a fan, I don't know, since I'm like 18 years old. I discovered him in a Singular commercial that used to play before every movie that I went to see. And when I was in college, I went to movies almost every night. I lived right near a movie theater. Anything new, I would go see. And before the movies, they would play this commercial.
No, now's a perfect time.
It's inconsiderate cell phone man.
I'm the dude with the suit waving. What are you talking about, Willis? You smell like bacon, sir.
So inappropriate.
Get this. It was a chick. Am I on speakerphone? It's pronounced areola.
It's inconsiderate cell phone man.
No, it's cool. I got a million minutes.
Is that funny? I mean, does it hold up? Maybe in the time, 99, year 2000, 2001, somewhere in that era, early 2000s, cell phones were new. Not everyone had one. And when you would go to the movies, maybe people would talk on it. It's just inconsiderate to talk on your phone in public when you're trying to, kind of almost ahead of its time in a way.
Hello? Pedro?
It's inconsiderate cell phone man.
You're at the concert? Thanks for the invite, Glenn.
You tell her I'm tan all over.
So inappropriate.
Tell you what, from here, she looks pretty cute. It's supposed to be ready on Tuesday. Oh, well, happy birthday to you, Nana.
Yeah, there's a picture of it right here. Unsavory.
It's inconsiderate cell phone man.
Marty, you're a joker.
Anything he did after that, I was just a fan of. Like he could do no wrong for me. Artists throughout their whole careers, it's hit and miss. Sometimes you do a good project, sometimes you don't. But you have that one thing that was so good or stuck with you so much that had such a deep impact on your life. Fortunately, that wasn't the best thing he ever did, but it was the thing that made me a fan. Meanwhile, went to this show. Saw him afterwards, shook hands, just a little small talk, chit chat. We didn't take a photo together. Now I was thinking about this. I've met a lot of people, famous, not famous, billionaires, powerful people. I never take a photo with them. And it's weird, right? Because I'm a photographer. You would almost expect that. I don't like doing that for a few reasons. One, it's a little weird, I think, to just like ask for a picture with someone. If it just feels like an imposition, or, like maybe we just want to live in the moment at that time. That said, you see like a lot of these people, especially now in politics, it's like everyone's always in a picture. Like the worst people alive are always in pictures together. And it's like, why are the worst people always deciding to get together to be in pictures with each other? And there's probably a lot of reasons for this, but I think mostly people want to make propaganda with their own pictures. Like, oh, I met this person, so that means I am able to. I'm just, I'm as important as they are, maybe because I ended up in the same room. It goes to the topic that I always go over here, where I just don't like to use people for my own personal gain. Wish I got a picture, though.
Oh man, I should have taken that photo with Rob. I can't believe I didn't do it. What was I thinking?
I've got a Patreon. If you like me talking about stuff, join the Patreon, patreon.com/The Hotline Show. It's a lot of fun. I know some people have some questions about it. In fact, I got one right here. Let's play it.
Hey Noah, it's Brad from First Class, calling you back. I'm up relaxing at my lake house, no big deal, I can afford it. Hey, I had a quick question about the Patreon. Now that I'm a member of the Patreon, no big deal, I can afford it. I'm wondering, are there any special features that I could unlock? Like, is there any kind of like hookup feature, where people in the Patreon are meeting each other and getting together for dating and drinks? I don't know what that would be like. Maybe you could swipe left or swipe right. I don't know how it works, but let me know if people in the Patreon are meeting up with each other, because that would be really fantastic. Okay, call me back.
No hookup feature just yet. Join that Patreon, patreon.com/The Hotline Show. Some people, it depends on the tier, but you might get a pen, because this is the #1 photography pen podcast on the internet. And I've got all sorts of pens that I'm never going to use. So I'm going to send it to you instead of throwing it in the garbage.
Just take pictures on my phone now.
If you don't know how it works, people call the number. It's in the description below. They call, they leave a message, they ask a question. Usually it's about photography. But it can be about anything. Like, what's your favorite comedy show? I'm super into comedy, so let's talk comedy. Maybe we turn into a comedy photography crossover podcast, video, YouTube show. Very niche. Anything goes. Call the number. It's in the description below. We've got a call. Susanna from LA.
Hi, Noah. It's Susanna. As you know, I live in Los Angeles. I've been looking at a lot of art lately, and I was checking out the Los Angeles County Museum of Art website to see what they have on view. And they have this new piece that's called Deep Time Cinematography that was created by this artist named Jonathon Keats. And it's a quote-unquote site-specific conceptual artwork. And it's some sort of mechanism that's going to create a 10-frame zoetrope movie of the Hollywood Hills over the next 10,000 years. The primary device is a pinhole camera. It's installed on the exterior of an escalator, and it's going to take 10 millennia spanning portraits of Los Angeles. And the piece reminded me a little of some of your work taken to the extreme, although of course it is film, not exactly photography, although obviously you do both. Anyway, I was just wondering if you thought that sounded interesting or douchey, or if you had any sort of additional takes on it. Thanks, bye.
Susanna, great to hear from you. Thanks so much. Jonathon Keats. I had never heard of Jonathon Keats. So once I got your call, I started doing some research, which is unusual for this show. And I looked up his work and I started reading about it, and I kind of went into a rabbit hole, and you kind of ruined my week. It gave me so much to think about. I'm going to try to go over it. Let's talk it over, this 10,000 year photograph of the Hollywood Hills. Okay. I get it. I'm initially skeptical. Searched the web and I found Jonathon sort of talking about a similar project, same concept, more or less, a little less time. This one is a 100-year time-lapse camera. So we're going to watch this because it is interesting. Now, the video is about 5 minutes long. I'm going to cut in and out probably. So let's go. Jonathon Keats.
I decided to develop a camera with an exposure time of 100 years. Now, the camera is not your ordinary device. It's not your iPhone, for instance. It is, in fact, the simplest of cameras because anything complicated is liable to break, and I probably couldn't make it anyway. So what I have done, starting in Berlin, was to make a camera that is a pinhole camera. In other words, it's a camera that lets in very little light through a pinhole that is focused onto what ordinarily would be a piece of film. Well, any film is going to spoil relatively quickly. I've managed to, with my own cyanotype chemistry, make exposures that are on the order of perhaps a week. And I know people who have managed to do so, I believe, up to a couple years through various tricks. And that's well and good, but it certainly is by no means a century. So the way in which this camera works is it doesn't use ordinary film. It uses something much more common and much more simple, which is ordinary black paper. Now, if you think about a book on your coffee table, for instance, and you look at it, you'll see that it probably has started to fade, or a poster on your wall, and it will continue to do so in sunlight. Well, the same thing will happen for a piece of ordinary black paper, but if you put that paper into a camera, letting in very little light through a pinhole, what you're doing is you're projecting the scene in front of the camera, but light is projected onto the paper in a way that the paper will gradually bleach very, very slowly.
I want to jump in here and talk about this because a lot of people may or may not know that this does indeed happen. We'll get into how he's applying it to the pinhole camera in a second, which I kind of think is a little bullshitty, but the whole thing is bullshit. I wanted to say, I don't know, some of you might have gotten my Tiny Flock book, but I've noticed in certain people's homes that, and even in my house on the bookshelf, the cover of this, which is sort of like a construction paper type of material, when exposed to the light, has started to fade. And you can kind of see it here. Do you see that? Like this is the part that was blacked out, so no sun was hitting it. And where the sun did, it's getting lighter up here. And you can kind of see the same thing happening where it was in the shelf. So another book was here, but this was the part that was getting hit with sunlight. So it's fading. So the darker color is getting lighter just from being exposed to sun. So in theory, this photograph through a pinhole might actually work over a long enough period of time. So that's not totally bullshit. So
The image will not be static because presumably whatever you're photographing is going to change over that 100-year period. So if you think about if the camera is out in a city and there are some small houses, and those houses get torn down after 20 years, and a skyscraper gets built up in their place and is there for the next 80, just to simplify, you would see the shadow, a ghost of those houses against the bolder skyscraper, sort of like in sports photography when you see a basketball player moving very fast across a court, where the court is very boldly in place, in view, and the basketball player is sort of ghostly.
it's sort of like that. Yeah, it's sort of a technical thing, something that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years, like the movement. Unsure what's going to happen. I mean, this camera really needs to be so super locked down and mounted, and no one can ever touch it. Because the second you start moving that, let's say it's exposing him on a fixed position for 10 years, and then that camera just moves a little bit, everything's then just going to start recording over it. It's going to be completely blurry. I don't really think it's going to work.
Is not so much a photograph as you end up with a movie, all in a single frame of that full span of 100 years.
Now, saying you end up with a movie on a single piece of paper over 100 years. No.
Now, why that interested me in Berlin was watching the city undergoing rapid and rampant development. So incredibly fast that every time that I went back there, it was as if it were a different city. And so I started to think about how you might make a camera that would be able to take that in, that would serve as a sort of a surveillance camera in the hands of those most affected by everything that we do, all the decisions that we make, yet least powerful to make any decisions. That is to say, those not yet born. And so the idea in Berlin was to build these cameras as surveillance cameras that could be taken out into the field and hidden away. And in 100 years, the images would be brought in.
Now, what he's showing here, the tin cans, which are the pinhole cameras, that's the art. The objects, the installation. Everything else is obviously conceptual. It's conceptual art. So it allows us to think about this process that is real, but we know that the end doesn't matter because none of us are going to be around to see it.
I worked with a gallery called Team Titanic. We built 100 of them. And we then made them available to anyone who wanted to take one and to hide it. If you wanted to take one, you gave a deposit of 10 euros, took a camera, hid it somewhere, anywhere that you wanted in Berlin, didn't tell anybody, except when you got to be very old, you would tell a child where you had put it, or you would write it into your will. And in 100 years, those children, then grown up, would bring the cameras back to Team Titanic, where they would get the 10 euro deposit.
Now, fun, interactive, get people involved, get people passionate about this idea, make it last generations. Smart as an artist. I mean, this guy's obvious. He's a showman. Like, look at how he's dressed. Like the whole thing, it's all performance. It's all just to get you to get into it. Okay.
And then there would be an exhibition, 100 years of change, all in that image. And so the idea was really to engage people, to engage the children of today in a way that they were actively taking a part in putting these cameras out in the world. And not only those who were directly involved, but also those who heard about it, who read about it. And it was all over the place. We got it into the newspapers. We got a conversation going about this, that the cameras became a sort of a constant presence and remain for the next 100 years, a sort of constant presence in the city. You can think of them as sort of black boxes in that sense.
This is great for marketing, and a good artist is a good marketer. So he knows what he's doing. He's going to get the press. He's going to get people talking about it. He's going to allow for this to build momentum that way, just to heighten his own profile. And as you can see, if you look at his Wikipedia page, it's a ton of shit because he's manufacturing this sort of idea and presenting it to people. Obviously, everyone's a content creator, so people are going to write about it in whatever newspaper publication that's local to the project.
It's a sort of documentary photography in the worst possible way, because documentary photographers are not supposed to interfere. These photographs manifestly do interfere because you don't know where they are, and yet you know that you could be being watched. And so the decisions that you make, you perhaps feel a little bit more accountable for those, and perhaps feel some sort of a relationship to those in the far future.
He's just a bullshitter, which is what a lot of artists are. You just come up with an idea based in some truth and interest, and then you just kind of keep running with it, and you're selling it to people. And clearly people are buying it because talking about Berlin, and I looked it up, and I think there's one in Arizona, and obviously he's got one in LACMA. So, hey, that's sweet. I love this and I hate it simultaneously. Like, I'm glad I know about Jonathon Keats now. I'm not a fan, but I don't I'm not a hater, really. A lot of artists work in time, and I work in the concept of time. I like a more realistic time frame. My time projects end in my death. I don't want to burden future generations with my great idea. Anyone who has worked on anything that takes place over a long period of time knows that, especially these days, most people don't give a shit beyond a couple of years. We move on. We just want new stuff. It's not to say in 100 years or in 10,000 years, people might find this and think it's interesting, but I guess we'll never know. The unknown is a good concept. There's no answers. And we just have to deal with that.
I don't know.
Is that good?
No one's good anymore.
I don't know.
Over and over again. So annoying.
Susanna, thanks for that call. Ruined my week. That's all I'm going to do this week, because actually I'm like kind of bummed out now. And I feel like I got to work harder. I got to bullshit more. And guess I take some pictures. Do the stuff, like, subscribe, call the number, it's in the description below. See you next week. Maybe.